It's no secret that the Toronto Raptors are trying to move on from Bruce Brown in the offseason, but what have I told you? They don't necessarily need to just sell him away and can bring in some good assets in return that can help them in the present and, more importantly, for the future. Let's get into it. In one of the more recent videos on the channel, I went through a bunch of Bruce Brown trades with you guys where the returns were essentially either picks or they were salary filler plus picks. Because that's likely what the Raptors are going to be looking for with this Bruce Brown trade saga. He's got 1 year left on his contract, and the Raptors do take on the $23 million team option, which I fully expect him to do, so they can capitalize on some sort of value for the player through a trade, because it really seems as though there is interest in the player. What stopped the Raptors from trading him when they acquired him near the trade deadline was the fact that they did not want 2024 first-round picks. They wanted draft picks for future draft classes, didn't want any for this year's class, so they decided to hold on to him. And there's still going to be an opportunity for them to make a trade with the player. But never did I really consider the possibility of the Raptors trying to make a real move with this trade, to bring in maybe a player that can help them from day one, to bring in stuff that can help them for the future as well. And we're going to go through the trade in this video that might make that happen, and it does involve the Golden State Warriors. As you saw, it does involve also Canadian Andrew Wiggins, who I have been pretty hell-bent on the Raptors not trading for in the recent years, but especially right now given his contract situation. But I'm going to present to you guys a trade that actually might make sense for both teams to take on. But before we get there, reminder that this is Amateur Hour Sports, the YouTube channel dedicated to Toronto Raptors content, videos like this, and live streams all throughout the summer, all throughout the offseason. Drop a like to show your support, subscribe to the channel, keep up to date with all that great content. But here is that trade in question. Again, going to the Golden State Warriors is Bruce Brown. And this is a trade that popped up in one of the live streams I did on this channel, where there was a lot of speculation about, well, we spoke about Bruce Brown, what the Raptors could get for him, and essentially the package, the main features of the trade were presented as the Raptors moving on from Bruce Brown and in return taking on that Andrew Wiggins contract. But what the Raptors could also get in this situation is Moses Moody and a first-round pick. And honestly, I feel as though future first from the Golden State Warriors hold a lot of value. And the salary that would make this happen is actually a player that could even help the Golden State Warriors as well this season, and that player is Chris Boucher. So the Golden State Warriors would receive Bruce Brown, 1 year left in the contract. Raptors take the team option worth $23 million. The Golden State Warriors also receive Chris Boucher back to Golden State for 1 season, the final year of his contract, and the Raptors, they would get Andrew Wiggins, Moses Moody in the final year of his rookie contract, where he is extension eligible and becomes a restricted free agent at the end of the season, so the Raptors have control over that contract, and they would also get a first-round pick. Now, we can put a 2025 pick, a 2026 pick. Depends how patient you can be. I think the longer you wait here, the more this Warriors dynasty is going to taper off, the more it's going to peter out. So if you can be patient, I really think these future firsts from the Golden State Warriors hold a lot of value. But nonetheless, you can get the pick that you were looking for when it comes to Bruce Brown. You also get a young player involved in Moses Moody. But the penalty here is you take on the Andrew Wiggins contract. And I say it's a penalty because that's what it is. It's a penalty. This is a pretty brutal contract that Andrew Wiggins is on. He's coming off of a not-so-great season. Did get better as the season wore on, but it's kind of difficult to think about the Raptors putting this much of their finances into Andrew Wiggins for 3 more seasons. It kind of seems as though he is on a decline, and this season he's going to be making $26 million. The next season, $28 million, and then he has a $30 million player option, which at this present point looks like he is very much going to take. So, yes, the Raptors get what they want for Bruce Brown. They get that pick. In return, they get Moses Moody, who isn't really used very often by the Warriors anyway. I'm not sure how involved he is with their future plans. He always seems to struggle with play time, but I've always been a big fan of Moses Moody. Even pre-draft I was. I like the shooting that he can bring to the team. I think the Raptors could maybe get a little bit more out of the player, especially if he is given consistent play time. But to get Moses Moody, you do have to take on the Andrew Wiggins contract. It's very clear that the Warriors are trying to move on from Andrew Wiggins, very largely to do with that contract figure. So it would just depend ultimately on how much the Warriors value Andrew Wiggins as an asset. How good do they think he is? Do they think that it's worth it just to get off that contract and, hey, we'll give a player Moses Moody away who we haven't really used very effectively in his 3 years with the team since we drafted him 14th overall, if I remember correctly. So why not try something new here? Bring in Bruce Brown, a nice switchable player who can do a great job on defense, do a great job in the ball handling department, can play off ball as that complementary sort of player that could work really well for a player like Steph Curry on their team. And also, I feel like Chris Boucher was underutilized by the Raptors. I'm not the biggest Chris Boucher fan, but it's clear that he doesn't fit Darko Rajakovic's system here, the quick decision-making system. Just didn't really fit in. Even when the Raptors were tanking, Chris Boucher wasn't playing and ended up getting injured. But I still feel as though Chris Boucher can bring value to an NBA court. And in particular, I think that there's a lot of great traits that actually suit the Golden State Warriors that Chris Boucher can bring to the team. He is a, okay defender. He can bring some levels defensively, but I think that his energy and I think that his rebounding is something that absolutely could be used by the Warriors alongside the decent floor space that he can provide. I mean, I'm not going to oversell him here. Look, he's a low 30% three-point shooter, but he can hit from there. He can crash the glass, grab you offensive rebounds, and can play as a bit of a stretch five at times for this team, which is something that they have liked doing over the years. I just think that there's a good fit here ultimately for the Warriors for a player that we don't really use and is mostly used in this situation as a salary filler. So for me, this is a really interesting trade. A very interesting trade. I wanted to get your guys' opinion on this trade to see what you guys think before actually making this video. And honestly, the reception here, I guess, is understandable. The grand majority of the people who voted in this poll said the Warriors would say no to this trade, that they're giving up too much for what they're actually getting back. Look, you're getting Bruce Brown on an expiring contract. You want to keep Bruce Brown. Chris Boucher's on an expiring contract. That's fine. You don't want that to be any more than 1 year. But you're giving away Moses Moody. You're giving away a pick. And you're giving away Andrew Wiggins. You're giving away two good assets, but you're getting off the Andrew Wiggins contract. But how much better is Bruce Brown making this team compared to what Andrew Wiggins could already provide to the team? That does make sense, and only 20% of voters said that this is a good trade that would go through. I kind of see why the Golden State Warriors would look at this and say, how much better does this actually make us? I think for salary purposes, freeing up the salary to continue to invest around Steph Curry after this season is something that should be appealing to the team. But I can see why there's a little bit too much to give away here from the Raptors' perspective. I'd like Moses Moody. I'd like that Warriors pick. They want to get off of Bruce Brown anyways. But it's just the Andrew Wiggins side of things. Is it really worth to invest in Andrew Wiggins and that contract that's going to be on your books when you still have to pay Emmanuel Quickley this offseason? He's a restricted free agent. RJ Barrett's already on his big contract. Scotty Barnes is likely about to sign a rookie max extension. Do you want to tie up even more salary in Andrew Wiggins, who likely doesn't really move the needle much to at all with the Raptors? What's his fit like with the team? Andrew Wiggins, is he going to be starting alongside RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes? The floor spacing's already a bit of a problem with the Raptors, and if Andrew Wiggins doesn't really figure out that three-point shot like he had in previous years for the Warriors, if he doesn't get that back, then there could be a lot of floor spacing problems for the team, and you're paying a lot for Andrew Wiggins. So I think looking at this trade, valuation-wise, I actually really like what we have here, but fit-wise for Wiggins and just the contract there, the fit kind of concerns me, and the contract has just such a great probability of ultimately becoming a headache for the Raptors down the line that it's just not worth it to me here. I'm not sure if the Warriors go for this, but I'm also not sure if the Raptors go for this one either. I think no matter what, that is going to be a headache of a contract for Andrew Wiggins. Not just, based on his abilities, even if he does get a lot back. I mean, yes, there is value there, but positionally, fit-wise, perhaps saving that money and allocating it elsewhere is the right way to go for the Raptors. And you don't have to worry about this trade. The Raptors are in a position right now where they can and should be patient. Making a trade like this would certainly spice things up and be interested, but I think it's a step too far for this Raptors team to take right now, especially when there should be a multitude of options for trading Bruce Brown that doesn't involve taking a bad contract in return, such as the ones that I went through in the previous video where I talked about Bruce Brown and those potential mock trades. You can check out the video now, but you can also check out other videos we have on Amateur Sports by subscribing to the channel. But if you did enjoy this video along the way, make sure you do drop a like. Let me know in the comments down below if you would make this Bruce Brown trade to the Golden State Warriors, and I'll see you guys again next time for another video.